Hey everyone, it's good to be with you today on Read Through the Word. It is February the 19th, and it certainly is one of those days that we are literally scratching our heads in our reading. It is one of those hard portions of Scripture that you get to and you think, oh, that makes absolutely no sense to me. So we just need to acknowledge that right off the bat, okay? Have you ever had a first day on a job and you go in and you think everything is going well? They had the big pomp and circumstance with the dedication of the priests and the ordination of them, and the temple has been completely set apart, anointed, sanctified, everything. And the boys, the Levites, Aaron and his sons, are ready to go to work. And Inauguration Day, the first ever sacrifice now being made in the temple. And the scene is set. It's like something out of a movie, right? And the anticipation of it all is there. And then we have this awful event of Nadab and Abihu. We can't even, the whole thing, from the moment that it happens to the two of them, to the fact that you see and Aaron was silent, that he wasn't even allowed to mourn. He couldn't touch them or anything because that's considered unclean. There are so many things that we don't know about the situation. Here's a few things. Did Aaron know what they did? Was he, I assume he was standing there supervising as the head priest. We don't know that. We don't know exactly what he knew. Did Nadab and Abihu know exactly what they did? They had instructions. Were the instructions clear? We want to say, well, of course they were. God gave them. Of course they're clear. We want to know that. We want to assume that. But we don't know for certain everything. What did they do? What part of what they did was offensive to God? And how fast did the news spread? I mean, in a moment like that, I think of modern day, and it's click, 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 and tweet, 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 and post, 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 and Instagram and Snapchat, and those little TikTok things. Not TikToks. I think they're called TikToks. Anyways, it's a new social media. It's TikTok. I think they're TikToks. TikToks are the things you put in your mouth. Regardless, it spreads like wildfire. There are no secrets anymore. And I can only imagine how the news spread. Did everyone know immediately? Was everyone there at the ceremony? These things we just don't know. But these are some things that we do know. Nadab and Abihu did something wrong that offended God. And we have to think that they knew what they were doing. But again, we don't know. But we know whatever they did, whatever it was, it offended God. To the point where it misrepresented His holiness. It offended His holiness. We also know that 2 boys lost their lives, and a daddy lost his sons in an instant. We know that Israel saw firsthand what God meant when He laid out instructions. There was no doubt whatsoever what He meant. His instructions are meant to be followed. And what we know is that we are grateful that Jesus came to accomplish the law. Because if God was handing out that kind of discipline for disobedience, I would have long been dead with Abihu and Nadab. I would have. I would have offended God. I offend God on a daily basis, I'm sure. And so thankful for the cross. You know, what we want to learn from this is how do we not offend God? And I love the way that David Guzik said, he says, this shows that even a legacy of great spiritual experiences can't keep us right with God. Because you think of all the things that they've seen. You think of all the things that they've witnessed. You think of all the things that they have experienced with God. All of these spiritual mountaintops. This legacy that they have. And it still didn't make their hearts right with God. Something went awry. Whether it was pride, whether it was ambition, whether it was zealousness to be part of this. We don't know exactly. Some even said that they went behind the Holy of Holies. That's what one commentary said. I didn't see several that agreed on that, but throwing that out there. All right. So what do we do? What do we do to keep our hearts? How do we avoid offending God? Well, we look at Psalm 51:17 from someone who offended God through the sin of murder, David. And he says, the sacrifice you desire, he's speaking to God. This is his confessional prayer that he said after his sin with Bathsheba and murder of Uriah was revealed to him. He says, the sacrifice you desire is a broken heart. You will not reject a broken heart and repentant heart, O God. So what we need to make sure that we do is we keep our hearts bendable, we keep our hearts broken, and we keep our hearts blemish-free. Bendable in that we are constantly listening to God and being molded by him and not having a stubborn, willful disposition that is in constant opposition to what offends God. That we are constantly being made new into what he wants us to be. We want to make sure that we are broken before him, that we remember that he is God and we are not, and he is in charge and we are not, and his ways are better and higher than my ways. And then lastly, we need to make sure, David says, and read that Psalm 51 out loud today if you get an opportunity. We need to make sure that we are blemish-free, not without sin, but repentant of our sin. That we are saying to God, create in me a clean heart, as David did. Renew a steadfast spirit within me. Give me a willing spirit to do what you would have me do. And then he also says, and don't take your spirit from me. Don't run away from me. So we need to make sure our hearts are right with God. And that's how we avoid offending him. We're still going to, because we're flesh. We're going to. But we need to keep a check on that. And constantly tell God, thank you for sending Jesus. And telling Jesus, thank you for accepting the assignment of accomplishing the law. Because I would have been taken out a long time ago. See you next time on Read Through the Word.